So I want you to think of those fresh foods as high status foods. The more you eat those foods, the higher your own status. Okay. Most of us want to be, we prefer to be high status rather than low status. I know I would. I don't want to be low status if I can help it. So you might be one of those people who really struggles with eating and even resisting junk food. And I made a video a long time ago that was called Are You a Junkie? And actually, it was just a short. And I released it and it got a pretty good response. And so I decided to follow up on that topic with a longer video today. And I'm going to just offer you some ideas about ways that you can solve this problem that you have with craving and eating too much junk food. So this is Mark Johnson, your fitness ambassador from Bounce Pep and the youngest son of Bill Johnson. If you're not already a subscriber, I want you to go ahead and listen to this, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll say, you know what, I want to subscribe to that guy's channel. So with that, let's jump right in. So it's a very, very common problem that people have a huge craving for junk food and really have a hard time just resisting it. And a lot of people eat junk food as a matter of course, just in their daily diet. And the first thing that I want you to know is that, I think in most cases, if this is something that you struggle with, it's not your fault. Now, I know that you have a lot of people who will tell you that it is your fault because you're choosing that, but I have a little bit more of a nuanced view of this, because what I think is that a lot of people grow up in households where junk food is eaten a lot, and there's not really an awareness that it's not normal. In other words, a lot of people grow up in households where eating junk food and eating, unhealthy food is the norm actually. And so when you're a child and you grow up eating that way, you don't have any way to judge it. I mean, you're eating what the parents provide. And so in that sense, I think for most people who have struggled with growing up eating junk food and then reaching adulthood and still finding that they have these cravings and it's really hard to get over them, it's because that's how they grew up and they're not necessarily to blame for that. So the first thing I want to do is just reassure you there that, hey, you are not some kind of flawed human being because you crave junk food all the time. What I'm going to tell you is that it is not good for you, and you can make a decision to step away from it. You can mitigate, your cravings for junk food, but you have to be intentional about it. And we're going to jump into that right now. So just yesterday, I was at the grocery store and I was in line. There was a woman and a child in front of me in line. And I kid you not, they had an entire groceries basket filled from the bottom to the top with nothing but ultra processed junk food. I can't make this up. And the child appeared to be happy, as a child normally would if they've got a basket full of junk food. And the mother, I just took a look at her, and this is just an observation. She didn't look great, wasn't very pleasing to the eye. It was in very, very poor shape. And I remember just thinking like, man, I wonder if they eat like this all the time. Okay. And in the kid's case, that's having a huge impact on what he sees as normal eating habits, right? So we're going to jump into the problem that you may be having here. And the first thing I want you to understand is that it's kind of a two-level problem. So on the surface level, your problem may be that it's really hard to resist junk food, right? Okay, but that's only the surface level. I think on a deeper level, what's happening is you believe that junk food is good enough for you. So what I need you to do is I need you to get inside your own head about this, because in order to mitigate your craving for junk food, you've got to understand what's going on inside your head, and then you've got to change that intentionally. Okay. So, and this is going to be really practical stuff here. So this is not just going to be a whole bunch of abstract philosophy. This is going to be practical stuff. So what I want you to do is I want you to delineate between what I call high status foods and low status foods. Okay. And anytime that you are eating high status foods, you are bolstering your own status. Okay, you're bolstering your own status anytime that you eat high status foods. Anytime that you eat low status foods, you are basically killing or reducing your own status. Okay, so that delineation is going to be very important. Now, without going into too much detail, high status foods would be fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, fresh meat, fish, poultry, all of those things that you can get when you walk into the grocery store and they're on the periphery of the grocery store, the periphery, okay? Not on the inner aisles, on the periphery. So the periphery is typically where you're going to find your fresh foods. So I want you to think of those fresh foods as high status foods. The more you eat those foods, the higher your own status, okay? Most of us we prefer to be high status rather than low status. I know I would. I don't want to be low status if I can help it. So let's just start there. And then I want you to think of the ultra processed foods, the cookies, the potato chips, all of those things that are in the middle, like in the center of the grocery store in the aisles, that are wrapped up in plastic and boxes and have colorful graphics on them and all that stuff, breakfast cereals. I want you to think of all of those things as low status foods. And the more you eat those, the lower your own status becomes. You literally become a lower status person because of that. I want you to start to perceive it that way. Again, you have to get inside your own head. Okay, you have to alter your own perception so that when you walk into a grocery store and you see the fresh vegetables and fruits and meat and everything, you're thinking to yourself, man, I'm attracted to that because that's high stat. Like, that's where I want to be. I want to be where the good stuff is. Okay. And then I want you to view the other ultra processed foods as low status. And when you see those things, what's going to happen is you're going to start to be kind of repelled because your mindset kind of changes. You start to say, you're not going to want to associate yourself with anything low status. Okay. And if you do, you're really going to mitigate it. So this is going on inside your head. It has to start inside your head. Okay. So you have to delineate between high and low status foods. Okay. And I think if you just start there, you would be amazed at how effective it can be at just changing your mindset. Now, on a practical level, here's what I think you can do. You can do one of a couple things. So this is kind of like a 2-week challenge that you can take up. One is you can say, for the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to drink any sugary drinks. Okay, so all I'm going to drink is water or unsweetened tea, unsweetened coffee. Maybe if you like milk, you can say, okay, I'm going to drink milk, but I'm not going to drink anything sweetened for the next 2 weeks. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, all day long. Everything that I drink must be, ideally it would be water, if not just pure water, but just something that's unsweetened. Okay. Another challenge that you can do is you can say, I'm not going to have any kind of ultra processed snacks. So potato chips, like I said before, cookies, Cheetos, little Twinkies and stuff like that. You say for the next 2 weeks, I'm absolutely not going to have any of that. And I'm going to replace it instead with some kind of a fresh fruit. So let's just take an example, concrete. Let's say you're working a 9 to 5 every day. So you work 5 days a week, and you're accustomed to having some sweet drinks or something throughout the day, or maybe a candy bar or some potato chips or something throughout the day. And that's just your thing at work. What I'm telling you is, for the next 2 weeks, when you go to work, I want you to replace that candy bar with maybe a banana, or maybe an apple, or a tomato, or just some fresh fruit, or it can be a vegetable. I don't care. Most people, a fruit, because it tends to be sweet, maybe is a little bit more appealing. But either one's fine. But you replace that candy bar, those potato chips, or bonbons, or whatever you're eating, with something fresh, fruit or vegetable. Okay, you do that for the next 2 weeks. Now, I don't want you to try both of these at the same time. I'm saying pick one. Either do the water challenge or do the fruit challenge. One or the other, okay? And I just say that because I don't want you to put too much on your plate at one time. Just try to do one thing for 2 weeks. And then what I want you to do is, again, I want you to be thinking, if you're doing a water challenge, I want you to be thinking, this is high status. I'm drinking water. Maybe I have, tea. Tea is high status. I want you to be thinking about that. This is high status. Pepsi Cola is low status. Sprite and Coca-Cola and Mountain Dew, that's low status stuff. So you have to be thinking this. If you're taking the other challenge, where you're gonna take the fruit challenge, then I want you to be thinking, candy bars, that's low status. So a Snickers or a Mars bar or Twix or whatever, that's low status. You don't want to associate with that. Or potato chips, Cheetos, or whatever, you don't want to associate yourself with that. You want to be looking at those things as low status, okay, below your standards. So try one of those challenges for the next 2 weeks and then see what happens. What I believe will happen is that after 2 weeks, if you stick with it and you do exactly what I say, let's just say after 2 weeks, you've had nothing sweet to drink. The next time you have something sweet to drink, it's going to taste really sweet to you. It's you're gonna be like, holy moly, this is really, really sweet. Okay. And you're going to start to realize that you never needed to have all those sweetened drinks in the first place. The same thing with the snack foods, the potato chips and everything. You're going to start to realize that you never really needed that stuff in the first place. And your cravings are going to come down. Now, one final note about this. I am not telling you that you can never have a Coca-Cola or a bag of potato chips or something like that. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you don't want these things to be something that you're indulging in every day. Okay, so you have to make sure that they are occasional treats and that you keep them inside that box, and that you recognize that every time that you indulge in that, you are lowering your standards and your status. That's what I'm saying. Okay, and just having that perception of those foods, will help to regulate your behavior. You will start to desire them less because you're going to be more interested in raising your own status. Okay. So go ahead and give that a try. Remember, I'm not banning anything. If you want to eat junk food, you're a grown woman, a grown man, you can eat junk food. I can't stop you. But I want you to be intentional about mitigating your cravings and then taking action. Try the water challenge or try the fruit challenge. If you want to leave some comments and let me know how it works out for you, go ahead and do that, because I like to hear that. But anyway, again, if you are not already a subscriber, I really, really hope you subscribe. And it's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for me, because we're both going to be learning things together. Every time I learn something, I try to share it with you guys. So every time I pick up some knowledge, I share it with you guys, bring it to the channel, and just, spread the wisdom. So with that said, let's call this a day. I want you to take this with you. Have a great day. Talk to you next time.